don't really need to travel far in the Black Country to see the wildlife. It could just be a short stroll in a local nature reserve or a park nearby, or sometimes you can get the best spots of wildlife within your back garden from time to time. I have travelled around various places around the Black Country to try and spot the wildlife, from parks or local nature reserves. It is astonishing to see how much wildlife is really thriving in places, and to see how much wildlife is really in the Black Country, from various different birds and water birds themselves. I could spend hours upon hours to try and spot this wildlife within different places within the Black Country. It is very important that we protect these habitats for generations on, from parks to local nature reserve, or even the canals where wildlife flourishes very well. Join me as we explore different places throughout the Black Country to show you the different kinds of wildlife that we really have, and why we should be protecting the habitats for generations on. So I'm just in my garden at the moment trying to spot the wildlife, and I can just see quite a few at the moment. Your gardens are always the best place to try and spot the wildlife from time to time, as you get different various little birds come down, robins, blue tits, even the pigeons which are hiding right up in the trees. So it is really lovely to sit here for a few hours in the back garden. You may have seen that I've seen quite a lot of the birds up in the sky. I've actually seen a few planes come over, and this is what I love about where I live here. Sometimes you can see the planes come up and above. I've seen a couple right now. There's actually another one flying right the way over. I don't know if the flight path actually changes, but from time to time you get planes come really low over above. The garden itself is really spectacular to spot different insects and also the wildlife itself. I'll just show you my garden in a little while. Let's sit here for hours. You see the birds at the back of me. But it is really surprising what you do find in your garden. If I just lift up a few rocks right now, you can actually find quite a lot of weird things. So you can just see if I just lift up this rock, you can see, lifting that up, you see a lot of wood lice. And there's a lot of insects, there's even spiders under here, as you can see. Check out that spider, right the way there. It's a big spider. I'm going to pop it back because I love to protect the wildlife. So you can see quite a lot really does flourish within your garden. Pop that back to where I found it. And that's always good to have different types of rocks and all little pebbles where wildlife can flourish right the way in. And between the overgrowth of the plants is a perfect place for them. And that's what I love about gardens. You can just spend hours and hours out into them, and it's great to enjoy the wildlife what you've got inside there by providing habitats for them like you've seen, putting rocks onto there. You can even put feeders out into your garden to encourage the bird life to come down, which many people do. And it's just nice to be out here to enjoy what we've got, enjoy the sunshine on a day like today. Or if you've got nothing to do, the garden's always a great place to go. In this next part of the video, we are going to be heading to the leasowes Park to overview the pool by the embankment on the dry side of the Dudley No. 2 canal. So here we are at a dry side of a Dudley No. 2 canal, which is right away behind me. You've got the leasowes embankment right the way in front, and it is really lovely on a day like today to sit here, enjoy the overviews of the pool, which is right the way at the bottom, filled with wildlife from various water birds, the various other birds within the trees. I've just been sitting here for quite a long time, spotted quite a lot. There's even the fish in the water, the carp just right away to the top. There's a few edge sparrows, some tits go right around to the edges. Robin coming by the side, be just down onto the corner here. It's a really lovely spot, and this is why I love coming to the leasowes, because it's near me in Alzoen, and it's actually one of the best places to actually spot wildlife. But you can imagine with places like this, the canal behind provides a habitat for things like moor hens, other water birds that do want to nest in there because of all the reeds that have taken back on the bed of the canal, covering it all the way along. You'd imagine many years ago when this canal was actually running in the early 1900s, when all the water was coming all the way through, went all the way to Lapper Tunnel, which is right away further behind, and then it went all the way to Horn Basin, the other side there. But you imagine if it does get restored, because they are on about restoring certain sections of the canal line. You'd imagine if they restored this, put all the water back into it, it will flourish more with wildlife coming back and forth. You imagine the wildlife, what isn't there, what could be there. But you can just see the dry side of the Dudley No. 2 canal within this section, very old, full of history, and I love just coming here just to see all of this. You never know what the future holds for the dry section here. It could be restored, whether it's not in my lifetime. There's a possibility that it will get restored because it's in perfect condition to fill back up the water. But it does cost a lot of money to repair canals and do the underbeds to make sure the water doesn't leak underneath. You imagine it will cost quite a lot to restore much of the canal, millions of pounds. They have restored certain sections at Selly Oak, which I might go and check out sometime. Apparently the wildlife starting to move back in over that section once more. But here it's just lovely. You imagine the leasowes dates really old. Once more full of history of the garden landscapes itself. I really do love it. And this is what I'm on about, passing through the leasowes. It's just absolutely beautiful, full of this woodland surrounding, streams going all the way down, providing the perfect habitat for wildlife. Just really spectacular landscape gardening views, this really is. This is the clearest that I've ever seen the dam section here with the pool. Just pan around to show you, it's absolutely so clear. I've just seen a frog go from one end to the other, dart it really fast into there. I don't know if there's any fish up this section, any little baby fry. But wow, that is the clearest pool. Got some more hens on here, just seen a lot of dragonflies. There is a lot of bubbles coming out of water just right onto the corner. There's a little damselfly just onto there, just flying all the way around. So with the weather like this, most of the wildlife is pretty much active on an evening. You come out about 7 or 8 at night. Even the early mornings can be very good, 5 or 6 in the morning. Just before the sun's starting to come up, it is really great to try and spot it. There's much activity in the morning. But it's just surrounded with the wildlife. If you can try and spot it somewhere within all the overgrowth of the trees, there is birds. I can see some now. And moor hens are really nice birds. I do like looking at them. They remind me of chickens. I used to keep chickens many years ago. They really do remind me of them. And the coots as well. The coots are lovely birds. Coots are sort of similar to a moorhen, but the coot's got a white beak and the moorhen's got like a reddish beak and a bit of yellow tip. But they are just beautiful, just watching for hours. There is so much wildlife here, you just got to adapt to the environment and try and spot it, like what I've just done. Look very closely into the water and notice the fish. There's just so much within the trees what I can hear right now. And these are definitely the places to come. Big massive parks to spot the wildlife with all trees surrounded. And the streams providing an habitat for those wildlife itself. It's a perfect place for it. And having the fish that's in the water provides a perfect place for the kingfisher to come back and forth, spotted at various times throughout the park. So here we are, over to the next pool of the leasowes now. This one is really my favourite. It's bursting full of wildlife onto here. And I always remember coming up this pool at a certain time of year last year and spotting the kingfisher which was coming back and forth. I didn't really take much cinematics with it, but I was spotting it with a camera, taking some really nice pictures. But you really do see some interesting things here, from bird life to many more. I just love coming to this pool. But you see all the coots at the moment just by the side with the babies. Absolutely beautiful sight. But what a beautiful place this. I can spend hours here trying to spot that wildlife, listen to the sounds, trying to spot them in the trees. It's quite a lot. I bet towards the evening it's really great over here to try and spot it. I love this place in general, just for a stroll, whether it's to check out the views we were at the way at the top, or whether it's for the wildlife which we come today for. It's definitely worth to come to the leasowes. If you've never been here before, then I definitely would recommend it. It's really looked after. It's a beautiful place. So who knows where our next journey is going to take us across the Black Country to try and spot that wildlife. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this one, but until next time, take care and definitely see you again soon. If you're new, hit that subscribe button and see you on the next video.